Hello, friends, and welcome to the very first episode of the Energized Hairdresser. I am so glad that you're here. If you're a hairdresser, if you're a hairstylist, who's ever felt drained, overwhelmed, or like you're running on fumes while trying to juggle life beyond the chair and everything around it, then you're in the right place. This podcast is all about helping you go from exhausted to energized without adding more overwhelm to your life. Sounds like a dream, huh? Well, let's get into it. Let me introduce myself here. My name is Ashley, or Ashley Jo Gillen, and I've been a hairdresser for over 20 years. And I've worked in literally every type of salon. I worked in commission salons. I worked as a booth renter. I've worked in corporate salons. I've worked in luxury salons. I've worked in corporate franchise salons. I have worked through many different changes in the industry. And then I've also jumped on the wagon of influencer education culture too, that completely shifted my career in a great way. In the while building out my own salon. So I've been a salon owner for 10 years. I've had employees, but in the last 5, I worked just independently. So I have my own salon inside my house, where I'm coming to you recording right now with my children upstairs. So I have 3 children at home full time, and then one daughter that's here with us half the time, and we're busy, right? So it's I love my job because it's always been something that I could do while having other things in my life. That was always the plan. Whenever you're like talking about being a hairdresser, it's always like, you can do this and you can be a mom and do hair. You can work this many hours and pursue your hobby, right? So basically, for a long time, I thought hustling harder was the answer, or taking on more clients was the answer, or like restarting my branding and marketing again was the answer. But long hours, skipping meals, running on coffee, putting everyone else's needs before my own really led me to an autoimmune disorder that is chronic, and exhaustion, and on the verge of awful. So when it comes to our health and our wellness, there is no space for that in this industry. There's no time. We literally give zero nothings about us, the human beings, and our bodies. And we were taught, I was not taught to do that. I've only had one owner that I worked for who told me to book a lunch break. One out of multiple. So that's where the Energized Hairdresser was born. I became a certified health coach in 2019, and I had my last baby in 2021. And between marketing and business and raising kids, and my husband and I, we also built a house during that time. It was really smart, and we lived in a camper. It's fine, but I took a step back from the coaching. I was like, I can't do it all. And so here we are. This is clearly a passion that I wanted to speak about. And I also want to encourage others of how we work affects our bodies and our lives. And then it affects everything beyond the chair after that. It's insane. So why this podcast? I created the Energized Hairdresser because stylists you just don't need more classes on balayage or the latest cutting trend. I mean, those are great. Those are so, a good class is kind of hard to find, right? And of course, the techniques behind the chair speak for themselves. I really have to find and catch myself not to dive down those, because I think a lot of our current techniques take a lot of mental load. So that's something we're going to dive in there in this podcast. But we need support for our whole person. We need permission to live life inside and outside of the salon. And we need permission to say, wait a second, I deserve to eat food. And if we don't eat food while we're working, like that is no more. That's my mission. No more. So I believe that when you fuel your body, you protect your mindset. You are able to serve your boundaries better. There ain't no way that you can honor your boundaries when you have been living off of coffee and a prayer all day long. You can't do it. Literally can't do it. You're not weak. It's not that you don't have boundaries. It's because your body is starving. So it's going to go in protective mode and you can't honor those things, right? So let's shift that mindset. Then you show up better for your clients, your family, and yourself. It's a running joke that I see, and especially now, right? I'm cultivating this business. I'm literally starting this podcast from zero, where after a long day, right? You've been yapping all day long, and by the time you get home, you're zapped, you're done. Has it occurred to anyone? It's because we don't eat. I say that, but like when I started applying these principles to my work, my whole work changed. Doesn't mean you're not going to be tired. Doesn't mean you're not going to need a minute just to kind of like reset your mind space after a long day. But we should not end our workday being zombies. Like, those are some behaviors that I would like to change. Okay? This podcast is my way of giving you all practical tools, encouragement, and be the hype girl to push you, to remind you that you are not just a stylist, you're a whole human who deserves to feel energized and supported. So that's my objective with this podcast, is to show you all how to feed yourselves and beyond that. You know, we all want to look better, feel better, look all snatched, but that takes work. As a 41-year-old female with autoimmune issues, it's not happened naturally anymore, right? So here's what you can look forward to. Each episode, hopefully it's going to be quick, 20 minutes. I know y'all are busy. And you could listen to on your way to salon or in between clients. And then topics about fueling your body, wellness, lifestyle changes, how to fuel your body during a busy workday, shifting your mindset when the overwhelm hits, shifting your mindset when you are fearful of what clients are going to think, and creating boundaries that protect your energy, right? Doesn't that sound like a dream? Let's talk about that. Every now and then you'll hear from guests who bring fresh insight into their business, their craft. I do have a heart for the mental load that most of us carry. Most of us are probably mothers, parents, and it's a lot. It's a lot to carry. So how can those techniques support our craft, not drain us or make us more confused? The last color class I went to, I was like kind of afraid to use the color because I'm like, well, shoot, that was so much information and I can't remember it all. What if I do it wrong? Like when an educator spouts out that 50% of your formula is what's already in the hair, you're like, wait, what? And then you work by yourself because I'm a visual, I'm a verbal processor. So when you hear something mind-blowing, like 50% of your formula is already in the hair, and then you're looking at your demi-permanents and you're like, wait a second, what? That could just be me, but I digress. So basically this podcast is your go-to space for tips, coaching, conversation that make you feel seen, supported, and ready to tackle your day without running on empty. So thank you so much for pressing play on this very first episode, and I cannot wait to walk into this journey with you to make sure you are fueling yourself first, right? To make sure that you are scheduling time in your day to sit down and breathe and drink water. To make sure that you are supporting your hard-earned income and packing your own lunch so you're not wasting all your money on DoorDash because we didn't plan ahead, which I've done many a times, right? I'd be wealthy if I didn't spend all my money on lunch. Right? So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And in the next episode, we're going to dive right into one of the biggest traps that stylists fall into is skipping meals behind the chair and how it costs you energy, focus, and even money. So until then, remember that you deserve to feel fueled, balanced, and energized, because when you are taking care of everyone else, who's going to take care of you? And everything else flows from that space of being taken care of. So I'm so excited for this opportunity to hang out with you. And I look forward to our next episode of the Energized Hairdresser. So leave a comment, like it below, and we'll talk soon. Hey friend, before you go, I just wanted to pop on here and say, come join us inside the Energized Hairdresser Collective. It's a community on Facebook where we take these conversations deeper and connect with other stylists working on their health, their mindset, and their habits. So I'd love to have you. It's a totally free community. Jump on over there and then we'll learn more. I can learn more about you. You can ask me questions. It's great. I can't wait to see you there.